completed the methods of inquiry in psychology. Now I'm starting with the new topic, analysis of data. See, after we have collected the data by applying any method, we have discussed 4 to 5 methods. So now applying any one of those or 2 or 3 of all those together, the researcher is now having lot of data. Now what is the next step? How he will evaluate or analyze that particular data. So there are two basic or major methods. First one is known as quantitative method, and the second one is known as qualitative method. Quantitative, as name is suggesting, that quantity is there. So as I explained you in interview method, I hope you remember that there are close-ended questions. Yes. So in quantitative method, generally close-ended questions are there, and there are questions in the form of rating scales. Yes, we talked about 3-point rating scale, 7-point rating scale, 11-point rating scale. So rating scales are there. Now in quantitative methods, certain statistical methods we use. To name some of them, we can use the methods of central tendency. You must have done this, the mean, the median, the mode. Now, sometimes we also use standard deviation. There is another method as we talk, coefficient correlation. So these are the some methods, statistical methods basically, which we apply to analyze the data. In which method? Quantitative method. Now you students don't have to learn these methods or learn these methods in detail. You don't have to go in detail. Just remember the names. Any example you can give of statistical method, may it be mean, median, mode, methods of central tendency, and standard deviation, coefficient correlation. It is given on page number 38, those who are having the book. So do not worry that you have to study in detail each of this method, or questions can come from any of this method. No, these are just given for your knowledge, that how do we proceed in this method. So main thing is, in quantitative method, we are focusing upon the close-ended questions, and questions are generally in the form of rating scales, right? And then you can write that certain statistical methods are applied for scoring the data. This is all about quantitative method. The second method in analysis of data is qualitative method. As name is suggesting, that it is talking about the quality. Now quality means when open-ended questions are there. Yes, we also talked about the subjective answers. We talk about the subjectivity. When I talk about quantitative method, we talk about the objective methods. And when I say qualitative method, in this method, open-ended questions are there. As I gave you example, that I give you a topic and you have to write upon it, your views, your thinking, your ideas. So that will become a qualitative method. Suppose take an example, that if you want to know how a mother feels about the loss of her child, yes, you cannot write down the questions in rating scales. It will be very inhuman. So what you will say, you will just ask that mother either to narrate the experience. Narrate means she will tell you verbally that what she's feeling. So this is also known as narrative analysis. This is also a part of qualitative method. Yes. So this could be a example that how you can give qualitative analysis to a particular response of the subject. So narrative analysis is there. You can give any topic and the subject is required to write upon it. So subjectivity is there because individual differences will be there. Each subject will write different response, different content. Yes. Now, next topic, limitations of psychological inquiry. We talk about different methods. Now, there are certain disadvantages, or you can say limitations. To start with the first one, it is known as lack of true zero point. This is the first limitation, lack of true zero point. What does it mean? See, in physical sciences, you must have seen that yes, we can start the measurement from zero. If you want to measure any object, you can start from zero and then you can give it measurement in meters or in centimeters or in any unit of measurement. But in psychology, there is not a zero point. Are you समझ में? What does it mean if I say that a person is having certain IQ? So you can never say that a person has zero intelligence. No person, no individual on earth is having a zero intelligence. बहुत कम हो सकती है, but ऐसा कभी नहीं होता in psychological inquiry that there is a true zero point. Everything is there. Maybe it may be there in little amount, maybe it is there in high amount, but no true zero point is there in psychological inquiry. So this is a limitation. Second limitation is what? Relative nature of psychological tools. What does it mean? That if you are using a particular psychological tool, there is a nature of it. Yes, if I develop a test for urban students, so I am just including the questions related to their lifestyle, related to their personality makeup. And if I am giving that questionnaire to students who belong to rural background, who belong to some remote, rural village, so will those students will be able to fill that questionnaire properly? No, because there are certain questions that they do not understand even. They haven't experienced those things in their life. If I just ask anything, they must haven't seen aeroplanes. They must haven't seen the metros. So if there are questions related to these things, they do not know how to operate computers. But if I'm doing the questionnaire, which I've designed for urban students, and I give that questionnaire to rural students, those students will not be able to perform accurately and precisely. So relative nature of psychological tools is very important. For a particular section, if I'm creating or making a questionnaire, so I should apply that questionnaire to that particular section. Fine. Now the third one is subjective interpretation of qualitative data. We just talked about the two types of analysis of data, quantitative and qualitative. When we talk about quantitative, there is no as such problem because methods are there and we are getting the almost same answers. But when we are analyzing the qualitative method, lot of subjectivity is there. So it is a little bit difficult to analyze this particular qualitative data because every interpreter or every researcher will analyze into different manner. Suppose 3 teachers are there, those 3 teachers will give different marks to that particular answer. Essay type answer is there and it will be scored differently by the 3 teachers because lot of subjectivity is there and it is a kind of qualitative data. So these were the limitations of psychological inquiry. Now the last topic of this chapter is ethical issues. You all understand the meaning of ethics. Basically, if I say in a very common language, in a layman language, these are certain moral principles. These are certain moral values. These are certain moral guidelines which a researcher or an experimenter has to follow while conducting any test or experiment on any subject. So what are those ethical issues? First one is voluntary participation. Now, what does it mean? Suppose I'm taking Tanishq as my subject, right? I want to conduct a test and I want Tanishq to be the subject. Subject is who? On whom I am conducting my experiment, right? So voluntary participation means that Tanishq should be agree to take part. There should be an agreement. Yes, ma'am, I want to participate. I want to become a subject. So voluntary participation means he is willingly agree and he is coming by his own will. Nobody is forcing him. So voluntary participation should be there from the subject side. What is the second one? Informed consent. Now, what is informed consent? The principle of informed consent states that potential participants must receive this information before data from them are collected, so that they make an informed decision about participation in the study. They may at times be required to give some private information which is generally not shared with others. In some studies, the technique of deception is used, in which the participants are given instructions to think or imagine in certain ways and are given false information or feedback about their perception. Now, how is it different from voluntary participation? Informed consent में क्या हो रहा है? Subject may require to give some private information also later on. So he should be informed priorly. See, this information could be required later on. So are you ready to give it? Are you ready to share with us? Can you trust us? So all these things will be told to the subject priorly before starting your test. डिसेप्शन टेक्निक क्या होता है? कई बार क्या होता है, इन a psychological test a subject is not informed कि what is the motive behind the test. So it's very obvious, anyone comes will ask the first question कि ma'am, why are you doing this test? What will be the advantage? How I will get the benefit? Yes, but if I don't want to tell the topic or I don't want to share the motive, I can just say a false information to the subject. It is general, it is just a test to know about your personality. So this is called a technique of deception in which you are giving false information to the subject. So this is also there in the informed consent. The third one is, ma'am, can we continue or should I stop as time is over?